Muted.
Hello everybody and welcome to today's call, Building a Client. This call is to take you through how to build a client in your Agent Tools and Solutions. I just want to let you know that today's call will be a muted call. This is just to ensure that you can all hear exactly what's going on and there's no feedback. So if we make a start, to access your Client Manager, you can access it from two areas. You can click here for Client Manager. You can also access it from the Admin section and click Client Manager here. Here you'll see a list of all the current clients that you have available. Click here to create a new client. You put in the client name. You click here so it creates its own portal name. You advise that this one will be a login required. That's what we would use for most client portals. Public accessible is for your public portal, and this doesn't allow a lot of the features. It removes the inbox and the ability to see inquiries. It only allows them to send inquiries, so most clients would be login required. If you wanted to make it so other people, so each person at the company can create their own login, you can do that by enable the create login link. This here is the link to the publicly accessible, so we can ignore that. So we want to pre-fill the proposal email address with the client brief email address, and the same for the confirmation. That just means that when you come to send the proposal, it will automatically know who the client is and where you want to send it, and you don't have to remember the email address. There's a few more options on this page. So these acceptance of proposal options requires authorization. That means that if you have clients that accept their own proposals online, but they need authorization from another person, if you tick this box, within Client Manager you can then say who the authorization is required by, and it will send a copy of their accepted proposal for them to say yes, it can definitely go ahead, and that would then come back to you. If you work in teams as an agency, you can decide which team this client belongs to. Leaving it blank will make it available for everybody. You can select the default billing type. So I'm going to do bill back to agent non-deducting. You can enter the client billing details. Now these are the details that would appear on the client's confirmation document. You can also enter the venue billing details. That would appear on the venue's confirmation document. And the same for contract details for client and for venue. You can select the default language. You can also select the default currency. And you can set the standard for when you're sending out online proposals and confirmations to say that if the venue currency is different, display rates in the client's currency only, or in both. You must enter overall company telephone number. You can also enter a current website, and then you can enter client type. If you make that, you can have that current or prospective. So current means that it's a live client that you will be using the system. Prospective can be used for tenders. You can use the homepage terms and conditions and the portal templates from another client if you wanted to. But what that means is every time you edit the templates, it would update for every client that was linked to. The same for the homepage. Here's where you put the main client details in, and then finally the primary contact email. Now the primary contact email is used for display purposes only, and what this means is when a client creates a request, they also get an email. It will appear to have come from this email, and what it will also do is ensure that you receive a copy via email as well as an alert through your generator site. Once you've completed this page, you hit Save Client. That will then create the client, and it will give you access to all the other areas. So you've got client addresses. This is where you would load the office addresses. You can do this one at a time by create new address, or you can click here for a CSV template, and that means you can upload a number of different ones at the same time. And what you need to make sure that they all have a minimum of having a street address, a city or town, and a postcode and a country. Now when you put in country, you need to make sure you put in the full details, so it won't recognise UK, it would have to be United Kingdom. And you also need to make sure that the description is different for each and every one. Now this is when you're doing venue searches and you search by client office, the description is what will appear. So you might put head office Bracknell or London office. If you put in the location as well, included in the description, what that will do is allow you, make it easier so that you know exactly where you're looking. Once you've completed this, you save it as a CSV file, you do not save it as an Excel. And you can then choose file, select the file you want to use, and then bulk upload addresses. So if you were doing it individually, you'd create new address. Everything marked with an asterisk means it's mandatory. And it will automatically recognise the latitude and longitude and put it on a map exactly where it is. And then you can hit Save Address. The same works for client users. You can do them individually. And you can also bulk upload users by completing the file. Now when you create a new user, again there's certain things that are important, so first name, last name and email address. You can select which address they belong to. You can also provide them with a cost centre. You can add a new one if it's going to be the same every time. You can say they're going to be a finance user if you use the finance area, and that will be the email address that comes up in client invoice. You can give user access to the client portal, which would always be a yes. You can make them an admin user, which allows them to see all requests. And that means that no matter who's sent the inquiry, that person can see it. It can be used for procurement people. And you can tick this box to send their new login details. You can also make people part of a team. So if you have 2 or 3 users that all want to be able to see each other's requests, you can create a team by clicking the Manage Team section. It works very much as your own admin does when creating teams for your generator users. You click in the team and then Save Changes, and then then you can assign each user to part of a team. The next section is portal setup. Now if you've used one of our portal landing pages and had those created by ourselves, you don't need to access this section at all. If not, and you're just creating your own, you can do that by selecting the client colours, which is what appears, and you can see how it appears on both the portal and on the online proposal. You can create your own homepage. You can add in any terms and conditions. Now you can do that whether you use our landing page or your own, and that just allows you to put some booking terms and conditions in that are based on your requirements. You can add in some portal features. So you can show a blog, and as long as you put in the blog title, it will show you. You can use that from our admin section and create a blog. You can show the events calendar or the cancellations calendar. That's managed by yourself, and it will show you the events calendar. You can load things like London Fashion Week, Chelsea Flower Show, Henley Regatta, so that they know if they're looking in that particular area why the prices could be higher or why the availability is not so good. You can load a cancellations calendar. Now this allows you to load any cancelled bookings you have to try and resell the space to avoid your other charges to the client. We also have what's called an attendee list. Now you can show attendee list. That allows users within the portal to load who is attending each meeting group. And then if something happens in that area, or a bomb goes off, or there's some sort of security issue, you can search that location and the date, and you can see they can then see who's in that area for them to be able to account for those and contact them to make sure everything's okay. And then you have File Manager, which allows them to add additional attachments if required, but it's not really used as project documents, works just as well. File Manager is where they load their files, and you can load their files. Now I'm going to skip past portal template and come back to it in a minute. So first of all, we're going to do requirements. Now these are requirements that are linked directly to this client. So you already have your agency requirements, which are questions you ask as an agency no matter who the client is. But if this client has specific questions that are only related to that client, for example, Coca-Cola need to know if a hotel or venue serves Coca-Cola and not Pepsi and needs to ensure that, you'd ask that question. Nobody else or none of your other clients are really going to be interested in that information, but it's important to them, so you would ask it and create it in these requirements. So if we do this for a meeting, we're going to add a category. We're going to give it a title. And we're going to save. Then we're going to add a new question to this category. So we click this, and again we click edit. We enter the question here. And then you can say that it's a mandatory question, so they cannot complete the response without responding to it. You can pre-select it, which means it's already ticked each and every time you come to do the inquiry, and then you select the response type. We click here. We're going to give this one a free text answer. You can have yes or no, yes, no, or qualify. A single response list, which means you create a list and they select one option. A multiple response list, that they select as many answers as they want from that list. Free text, or you can allow them to do a file upload. So we're going to make this one a free text, and we're going to save response. And we go back to meetings, and we can see that's there, and you can see I made a spelling mistake here. So again, we're going to edit this question, update it, and then save. So wherever you see the pencil, that means you can edit, and then the disk is to save. You can create preferred venue lists, and you can select, if they have a specific program, you can make these properties appear higher in the search, and they'll also have little badges, so you can do them as a priority 1, 2 or 3, and they'll have a gold, silver or bronze badge against that property, so you know as an agency that that's one of their preferred properties, and they will also know that that is one of their preferred properties. It's literally just drag and drop. Just pick it up and press it across. Once you've done them all, you make sure you hit save. You can do that at property level, and you can also do it as group level if they have particular groups that they want to use. But again, make sure you always hit save, otherwise it won't be remembered for next time. Then you have the client admin section. Now you can have up to 5 client codes, so this could be cost center, it could be department code. You decide what it's called. Sorry, I don't know what's the matter with my typing today. So department code, and you say that if it's mandatory for accommodation, groups or meetings, we're just going to say this is for meetings and groups. If they need a purchase order number, you just tick that, and again you can make it mandatory. If they need to use credit card details, you tick here, and you decide who provides the credit card details. So if you have a set card that you use each and every time, or something like an AirPlus card or something along those lines that you provide, not the client, you would select provided by agent. It wouldn't ask the client on their online proposal to provide that, but it would ask you as an agent to provide that before you could accept the booking. Or if it's provided by the client, you would tick here, and again you can make that mandatory. Again, make sure you hit save. The final tab before we move back to portal templates is management fees. So these are fees that you charge to your clients for making a booking. So this can be yours. That's what you would call it. You say that if it's for accommodation, groups or meetings, you could just make it for groups or meetings. When it's valid from, so it's valid, if you leave the valid to blank, it will continue to be valid forever. How you want it to pay to the client, so you might call it. You can put in an explanation that will display to both you and the client what that is. And you can make the charge. Now you can make this charge a set amount in whatever currency that you prefer. And it can be either per project or per accepted venue. Or you can just charge a percentage. 10%. 2% of the gross project total. If that includes VAT, you leave that as yes, or you can change it to no. And you can add 20. And again, you have to hit save each and every time. And you'll know that the data is successfully saved. So each time you do a group or a meeting for this client, this fee will automatically appear. You can remove it at booking stage. So work on an 80-20 rule. So if 80% of the time you're going to charge them, make sure it appears 80% and then you can just remove it when required. It's going to be much easier to remove it on the odd occasion than add it each and every time you do a booking. Finally, we'll have portal templates. Now this is where you build the templates. Now there is a quick and easier way to do this than starting from scratch by clicking here. So what we would do is we go back to Client Manager. We'd go into one of our alternative clients that already has a template. Go to Portal Templates, and you can see here, you click on this button here to copy it. So we're going to do just a meeting template for this one. We're then going to edit it by clicking the pencil. Give it a second while it just opens. Now you can leave all the client codes in, 1 to 5 for each and every client, and they would only appear if they're used in Client Admin, so don't worry about them just being there for no reason. Client code would appear in the actual template as whatever you've called it in the admin section. So you check the details. You might need specific additional details for this particular client, and you can add these from the library. And again, it's a drag and drop, and you can just drag it back out. You can create headers and horizontal rules, things like that as well, to make it look exactly how you want it to look. And then we click Save Template As. And we're going to delete that so it doesn't say copy of. Meeting and accommodation booking template. And this one is going into building a client. You can press Control and click more than one. So if you do more than one client at a time, you can copy the templates all in one go. Hit Save Template. What you'll notice is that it still stays in this client, or you can untick it when you hit Save, but if you don't need it, you can just delete it. Then if we go back to Client Manager, go to our new client, go to Portal Templates, you'll see that that's now there. You've already checked it and edited it to how you want it to do, but it's not ready to use yet. You can't use unpublished templates. So what we'll do there is click Publish. Yes, we wish to continue. And you see that's now a published template. What you'll notice is you can no longer delete a published template. All you can do is archive it if you change it. You can't delete it because it would affect bookings that you'd already used. So you would just archive if not required. And what you'll find now is if we click New RFM to create a booking, building a client is available, and we can create a new booking from here, and that template's available. So although it was quite a quick demonstration, and you can see now how easy it is to build a client and create your clients. We're always available for support. Please contact our help desk if you need any assistance from here. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to the recording and to listen to our webinar, and I hope to speak to you all soon. Thank you. Goodbye.